So I'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, please reside with us today as we make decisions and move forward for the care of our seniors and our staff. Please bless us with your wisdom and your knowledge and guide us in everything that we do and say. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Director Leroy Pinder. Treasurer Ron Lynch.
Here.
Director Pam McKinnon.
Here.
President Phil Potter.
Here.
Vice President Dolores Schlicker.
Here.
Secretary Robert Turek, present, and Member at Large Commissioner Carolyn Berman.
Present.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. No changes.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. There's no changes.
I don't even have an agenda.
Should be a freestanding piece of paper on your left.
I got it.
I have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Second. Who did?
Ron.
Oh, okay. Motion by McKinnon, seconded by Lynch to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. You have the minutes from our last meeting in front of you for October 22nd, 2024.
I make a motion to accept minutes from October 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by McKinnon, seconded by Schlicker. To accept the minutes of October 22nd, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Ratification of executive committee action appointing Kelly Bonfennel to the board.
I'll go ahead and read that.
Yeah.
It's dated October 30th, 2024. Therefore, the ACCOA Executive Committee via unanimous vote appoints Kelly Von Fintel to the ACCOA Board of Directors effective immediately to fill a vacant seat whose term is set to expire September 30th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to accept Kelly Von Fennel as a director.
Motion by Schlicker, seconded by Lynch to accept Kelly Von Fennel as a director on the board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Welcome to the board.
There's one right there.
If public comment, limited to 2 minutes per person, please give name and township. And remember, our board does not answer questions. Submitted. So do we have anybody that would like to speak to the board?
Yeah, my name is Tyler Swart. I'm the Nutrition Service Coordinator for Legion 9. I just am here to introduce myself and see how things go. I've been to pretty much every other COA. So yeah, it's nice to meet everybody. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other? Okay, I'll close public comment and we'll go to presentations. Mr. Shaw.
How's it going? Okay.
Everybody hearing?
Better.
Yeah, it's better.
Great. Start off with residential, senior housing. So we're finished back there. We did our landscaping. We have the paving, the sidewalks, the driveways. And the only thing left to do is the water lines to the units. And we contracted with Freedom Utility Services out of Mansalona. And they'll be boring that in. All of the material is on site and they're scheduled to begin next Monday. That'll be the very last piece of that pond. And so we should have the water lines done by next Friday. And otherwise, we did a big site cleanout and did a lot of landscaping with rocks and what have you. So if anyone hasn't been back there in a while, it's really looking great right now. So that's the senior housing. The water to that was connected to in the main building getting electricity. And we're probably about 4 weeks out still in electricity right now. So that's we're getting an inspection today, 5, that will free up the consumers to actually start their installation process. So it's just been a touch and go thing, but we should get the green light to free up the construction of the electrical service by consumers. And that'll put us probably about 3 to 4 weeks out for actual power to the building, which runs the pumps that gives water. So that's that. Going to the building itself, every component's coming along on the outside. The glass is getting finished up tomorrow, or today we're getting pieces. Sadly, there was a substantial order mistake when they were getting the glass by a fellow, and all that glass is coming into here today, about 22 pieces of glass. And so that's where you see the plywood and some of the window things. That's what that's about. And they're just working right along. We've got the big pieces of glass for the big windows that are still a couple of years out. We've got this clean over that. And so our goal is to fully enclose the building. We're down just to a couple of doors. And we've got 5 steel exterior doors, permanent exterior doors that are in shipment. So hopefully we're going to see them today. And then the next day or two, we'll have the building fully enclosed, putting temp heat to it. Actually, we've got areas of the building today that we've got temp heat going, so that's coming along. For the outside on the stucco, they're probably about 50% finished. We're going to be going into winter conditions on that, so we'll actually have scaffolding with proper visqueen coverage and heat inside, and just kind of move along in sections. But that's kind of a normal thing in that industry, so they're all set up to do it as the weather requires, which it is now. On the roofing, really 100% done. We're just waiting on the final cap. Once the driving guy is finished with his final coat right up to the top, we put a final flashing over the top of that. That's kind of just goes along as the driving gets finished. On the roof, all the HVAC units are in place, all the gas piping is in place, and so that's that. We've got we had a couple of pieces of exterior material on the gym that arrived at the quarters in the process of putting those on. Just a couple of panels on the west and one panel on the front corner. So that's going on right now. George Tate is out just finishing the water lines from his wells to the building. So the actual, at this moment, all those lines are in, they're just kind of backfilling them. So that has both the electric and the water line that goes to the spot in the building where we'll actually have our pressure tanks and what have you. So that's a great thing to have finished. Then, of course, we got our paving in and striping, which was great. We've got our front sidewalk in. And then that's pretty much the outside. We're going to do some drain line work later this week, first part of next, to take the discharge from the gym and actually put it into underground pipes to get over to the pond. So we've got some of those pieces and we'll get that finished next week. Then on the inside, we've got 100% of our framing finished, probably about 40% of our drywall at this time, about 80% of our insulation, 100% of our in-wall plumbing and in-wall electric. So we've got those inspections, which allows us to cover up the various walls. So that's ongoing. We've placed an order for flooring with Kohl's for both the luxury vinyl tile, which will read like a wood product on the floor in a lot of the areas, and then nice carpet tiles that will go in office and what have you. So that's on order. Kohl's again just gave us amazing pricing, just can't even touch it both for all the products and flavors. So once again, thanks to Kohl's. Our kitchen is fully framed and fully drywalled, and we're starting to put a waterproofing agent around the perimeter so we can put our tile on. So that's like it kind of goes on like slime and then it dries into a plastic or waterproof kind of plastic material. And then that's the backer for the tile. We've already bought the tile, and we'll be putting on a really beautiful white wall tile, so when you walk into the kitchen, it'll be, this beautiful tile. It'll either be stainless steel, where the hoods and things are like that, or it'll be a white tile. And that's all going in, probably about 80% of our ductwork is in place. About 50% of it is insulated. We're probably about 70% of our fire suppression is finished. And then let's see, on the electrical, we're working on the big stuff, these big connectors in our electrical room. And we're trying to get that to the point where we'll pass the inspection today. So that's all ongoing. And then that's about it. We're just moving on every front we can, and that's about where we are.
Do you have any questions for Andy on the building?
How close is the housing to be ready to rent out?
The housing, so the only thing left to do is to get the water fired up, and so we've got the wells and we've got the water from the wells to the building. Like I said, next Monday we'll be putting the water lines in from the building to the houses. So there's kind of a water main and there's 8 individual offshoots that go to the houses. So that'll, let's say next Friday, that'll be set. And then the only thing we're waiting on is the power to run these pumps. And I could do it from a generator perspective, but it's really not the way to go. So it's kind of the only thing holding up the occupancy of the houses is permanent fresh water. And so and I'd say to answer your question, I'd say we're probably 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're 100% finished. It's just, that was one of the things that Dave Schmidt insisted on, is he had this, these 2 wells that would fire up everything. And one of the flaws in that logic is that from a construction standpoint, so you need the main building to generate both electricity, heat, water, and then feed over to the residential. So there's pros and cons to it. Once it gets fired up, it'll be fine. The nice part about it is, as a tenant in the houses, it'll feel like you've got city water, right? You won't have to fiddle with it. It'll just all end up being the community center and operated by that. So, but for right now, it's a bit of a chore because, if we just had regular wells, it'd be done already. So,
Is the driveway going back to the houses, that's gonna be paved also?
all finished up. That's paved. Every driveway into the house is paved and the road is paved.
Good.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. We took a day and it was getting to be like a junkyard back there. It's always that thing. You hate to get stuff off the site that you might need, but at some point you gotta get rid of it. And so we did a real good purge about a week ago or sometime last week, and it just really looks great back there. Plus we utilized we found so many big, beautiful rocks back there, just huge. And they were really good looking. There's a lot of them that just had interesting style, interesting features to them. And so you'll see, we kind of try to share all the beautiful stones equally with the houses. So they're really placed, it really looks nice. And then plus we strategically put them like near the generators and near other things so that they wouldn't get during the snow plow and wouldn't push snow on against some of the things. So they have like a strategic significance.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you. We'll let you get back to work. No rest for the weary.
Everybody's coming out.
Do we have any representatives from NEMSCO?
Just so you know, we always put a space on the agenda for anybody, whether you show up or not, but you all always have time.
A few days.
I didn't bring anything.
Okay. Carolyn?
Thank
You're next.
Good morning and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Just a couple of notes. Had our opioid committee meeting. We had a gentleman by the name of Dr. Jason Bailey from the Alpena area on treatment that he is working on at the Friends Forever Center, and told us about how it was, how he was doing and so on. He does not, if somebody can't pay, they cover it. And so we he had figured out based on the number of clients that he has from the 4, so to speak, surrounding area, well, Alpena plus the 3 surrounding counties. And our fair share, so to speak, was going to be $8,400, which the committee did approve. Once the opioid committee approves or recommends action on with an agency, it then goes to our full board, and the full board votes it up or down. And so far, they've always voted this up on everything. Had 211 monthly meeting, presentation there, on both the state 211 as well as Michigan Association United Ways, which is they're kind of hand in hand working together. MAU is our funding entity for 211, one of our funding entities. And so it was good to have that presentation and hear their updates and so on. I do have a couple of handouts I'd like to send down the line. The first one is for this Thursday, a dinner at the Presbyterian Church from 2:30 to 5:30. There is no cost, and it's turkey and all the trimmings. Come if you can. If your turkey is still not defrosted at noon, come on over. So we'll be glad to have you. So the next one that I'm handing out is a new program that's being developed by Laura Cano. She has a point very well taken. This time of year, as we go into the holidays, there's a lot of things going for the little ones. There's Santa parties, and there's a fish house, and there's just all kinds of places where mom and dad can get toys, clothes, whatever they need, type of thing. And her concern, she has 3 daughters that went through the teenage stages. One is still just 17. And she said it can be really, really tough because by then, usually, they've stopped believing in Santa Claus. They have nothing to hold on to. Mom is probably stressed out beyond words. And so she is inviting folks, if they would like to help a local teen Christmas party. As you can see, they're accepting games and those kinds of things. There will be presents for each child, each teenager. They're really not still a child, but wanted to make you aware of that. As I said, it's something new, but it has, I think it will be interesting, and I think with this lady doing it, that she will doing a good job on it, and it will become an annual thing. The next one that Dr. Turek is holding, and the reason I asked you, please feel free to take more than one of these. I think I printed 20 out, and I'm sure Wendy would be happy to print more if necessary. This is for Central Dispatch for 911. What they are asking, and it is not limited to seniors at all. If you know someone who has challenges or difficulty in getting in and out of their house, either through physical or mental situations, if this is filled out regarding that individual, it allows when the address comes up, when you call in and the address comes up, this information will also come up, indicating that there is someone in that home that may need assistance. So if it's a fire or anything like that, the first responders will know that, the ambulance will know that, and the sheriff's department will know that. So it's to help someone who is not easily able to get out of their house. So please, please fill it out. If you get it to Wendy, she'll get it to me and I'll see that it goes over to the 911 department. There is one other thing that is not on here, but I urge you, if you load your own shells, if you're a hunter and you load your own shells, you probably have gunpowder in your home. And that is, as you know, or I hope you know, can be very volatile. And our fire department, and again, our sheriff's department, not so much the ambulance, but they need to know. So please let 911 know that you have gunpowder in your house and where it is. Most people have it in their basement, but let them know where it is so they can make sure that does not become a greater danger than whatever the problem is that it already has. The other half of that is if you have oxygen in the house, which is going to fuel a fire, let them know about the fact that you have tanks of oxygen. Again, it's a safety thing, but a little prevention can help a lot. So I urge you, not only if you know somebody who needs assistance getting in or out, getting out of their house in an emergency, but also if you have the gunpowder or if you have the oxygen. Please, you can let me know, let Wendy know, or you can call 911. And please don't call 911, call their number and let them know that you wanted to inform them of the fact that there was oxygen or gunpowder in your house. So, and if you were a hunter, I hope you got your deer already.
Thank
That's
you.
all that I have unless there are questions.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to executive director's report.
Meals for October.
Please. Thank you.
For the meal for October, we spent 3,295 meals and 479 were unlimited. We're down to one person on our waiting list. And I just letting you know, we sold the white Chevy Colorado truck on November 5th for $1,500. We had our Thanksgiving dinner last Thursday, the 21st, and we served 54 people for dinner. Our holiday Christmas dinner will be held on December 19th, and the Cub Scouts will again be coming to Carroll. On October 2nd, we took a trip to Canavies. We had 10 seniors, or 11 seniors in the driver. We made a small profit of $47.50. Dolores was trying to wrangle up a couple basketball trips, but we didn't quite have enough people. They are asking to go Christmas light touring, so I think in December we can try that and see how that goes. I did receive a call from Northland Credit Union and the Dollar General both in Harrisville, and they both chose ACCOA to donate. So I had given a list of things that seniors were looking for from Northland, and then the Dollar General will be dropping the toys off that they get for our kinship program. So we had 2 local areas wanting to donate to us, so that was really awesome. Last week, myself and Patty and Bob met with Cindy and Nathan from Stevenson, and we have our audit scheduled for January 20th that week.
And I did have a meeting last week with Dan O'Connor, and he would like to start having stakeholder meetings to go over stuff that the, school would like to utilize the new building for. And one of the things that he mentioned is they do want to, buy memberships for all of their employees. And he's got a lot of really good ideas, so. And then one thing I didn't have on here is we're gonna do our employee Christmas party on December 13th, it's a Friday from 10 to 1, and we would like to invite the board. We're gonna do what we did last year, bring in food, and then if you want to be included in the gift exchange, a $20 gift.
I have one question. Did, Teresa's Diner contact you? Anybody from Teresa's Diner?
Oh, yes, Christy was working with them there. She's trying to gather up some names for a senior giving tree. Yes,
She asked me who to call and I told her you.
yes, yep, Christy's working with her. Yep.
Okay, all right.
Are we planning to give staff a money donation as a Christmas gift or?
I wasn't planning on it. We gave them a turkey for Thanksgiving, and then we were gonna
In the past, we have.
again, and then just do our party and the gift exchange.
Okay. That's on that. Okay. Thank you. We'll move on to treasurer's report.
The assets working funds, $422. $422,271.75. Savings. $596,881.60. New building project fund, $2,905,790.87. Received in full, 4.5 million, as of 7/24/24. Total amount spent as of 11/20/24. 10,208,241.43.
Okay. We'll need a motion to accept the treasurer's report, subject to audit, please.
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Motion by Swicker, seconded by Pender to accept treasurer's report, subject to audit. Roll call, please.
Pinder. Lynch.
Aye.
McKinnon. Potter.
Yes.
Schlicker.
Yes.
Turek. Yes. Von Fittel.
Carried. Thank you, Colin. Secretary's report.
I have two items for you. The first is to review. It's a new policy. It's an employee arbitration procedure and agreement that Wendy and Linnea were working on this. It will be a requirement for all new employees to sign. And we can't force existing employees to sign it, but hopefully they would. It just basically prior to any kind of legal, if there's a disagreement, the employee has to submit to arbitration. And that cost for arbitration will be picked up. It can be applied to our insurance deductible. If our deductible's been met, it'll be picked up completely by the insurance company. So it's just an extra step that I'm so happy. It seems like it's just a great thing to have. But I think we should probably, move to to formally adopt this procedure and agreement. So I would make a motion that we accept this procedure and agreement.
I make a motion to accept the procedure. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll second that.
Motion by Turk to accept the arbitration meeting procedure, seconded by McKinnon. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And then the other thing I have is just before the meeting, I was presented with another application, somebody to join the board and permission to, we can do the background check. So if everything checks out, we can do essentially what we did with Leroy and Kelly Von Fintel, that we can go ahead and do an executive committee action to add them to the board, which then we'll ratify at the next board meeting. If we didn't do that, it wouldn't be until the next January that that person could really join the board. So if we do this as an executive committee action, they can be, privy to all board information beforehand, before it's being ratified. So, John Nagy, I won't even attempt the true Hungarian pronunciation of that, but, thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
And that's all I had.
do we need a motion on that you're gonna do an executive? We're gonna do an executive,
Let's wait till we get the background check and such like that, and then we'll do it as an executive committee action. But anytime I do something like that, I always ask all the board members anyway. It isn't like the executive committee is just making decisions. Every board member knows, okay, we've got a new applicant. How do you feel about this? And so everybody knows ahead of time. Consent for the background check and it's. So thank you.
thank you. Is that all you have, bud?
That's all I had.
You're gonna do this?
Oh, we'll do that under new business.
Okay.
Committee reports.
Well, a formal committee report. But like Wendy was saying, when Cindy Scottus Stevenson came and we met, we went over some of the things in the previous audit that were a little strange in how they phrase some things. And for instance, they put in all the money that is spent on the new building, they put it in our income or revenue, which it doesn't quite make sense. So it's going to show this year when they do an audit, if we've done $8 million worth of work on the new building, it's going to show we had $8 million of income or revenue. And then it's going to make it look like most of our revenue is due to grants. Is due to grants and awards, which we know it isn't. So they're going to put in some language there that clarifies that no, we're not 90% reliant on grants and awards. It's just somehow how they have to do the audit, that every dollar that's spent on the new building project looks like revenue. So it's kind of strange, but we'll go over that when they do the audit. But some of what they came up with when we talk about the congregate and the home delivered meals, I'll talk about when we talk about under new business.
Sounds good. Okay. We'll move on to unfinished business. Business that has to be. Good, no unfinished business. We'll move on to new business.
I happened to go to the Guston Township Board meeting, and they were discussing allocating some funds to buy a sound system, microphones and speakers. And I said, look, we have some microphones and speaker system that is not going to be moved over into the new senior center. And I know everybody's real fond of it, but I think we could probably, Mike Suter would take the speakers down and move them over to Guston if we wanted to donate it. that to Guston. I guess we could probably sell all the stuff, but then you have to go to the trouble of having somebody list it on eBay or do whatever. It just seems like if they're interested in it, it's something that we could donate to them.
I think we should. I think that'd be a good idea. to
So there,
donate.
yeah, there'd be no cost to us, Mike
After we're
Suter.
done here though, right? After we're done in this building
Mhm.
or right away?
Yeah, well, our next meeting is January, so I don't know if we'll be in the new building having a meeting or not. In theory, we could do a month without these microphones if everybody speaks up. Half the time they don't work anyway, but it's up to the board. I mean, I think they would probably take them even if it is February.
Do we need a motion to donate?
Definitely.
I'll make a motion to donate our sound system, is that the right words?
Mhm.
To the Guston Township.
So,
Motion by Slicker, seconded by Lynch to donate our sound system to Guston Township when we're into the new building and we're no longer using them. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I have a question, Phil. All those telephones that is back in that little room. Can we either use them or sell them or donate them? And do we still have them? Wendy might know.
Wendy,
I did see a tub upstairs as we've been going through stuff. And I was just actually talking to Mike the other day about those, and he said they're that old system that Lenny had that broke the contract or something, like they're totally obsolete. They could be fixed.
Really? And they're only 3 years old?
No, these are
Oh,
prior, the ones prior to what we have now.
I'm talking about when Lenny came, he took all the old system out
Right.
and we were still under contract with them.
Mhm.
Are those phones still here or don't you
There's
know?
a couple of them upstairs, it just said they were obsolete.
because we broke the contract.
Right, but can we donate them? Would they be good for another company or another
Center,
ACCOA or something?
we tried.
I
mean,
have a feeling we're going to be donating a lot of things.
I mean, they're just sitting there and, so we should check into that.
Okay, we'll move to, still on new business, NEMSCA funding.
Well, this is opportune, that he is here today. As part of when we were speaking with Cindy Scott, we were going over what kind of funds and how much we get from NEMSCA for the three programs, the congregate meals, the home delivered meals, and the in-home services. And so the first page you see there where it says statement of grant award, and I have highlighted in 2024, that total is $194,498. That's what we get from NEMSCA every year. I broke that down into which of those are in-home service, which of those are congregate meals, which of those are home delivered meals. And that's the three totals at the bottom. Congregate meals total of 28,413. Home delivered meals, 61,209. And in-home services, 104,876. So that's what that first page is. The second page, what Cindy Scott was saying is that our home delivered meals donations and our congregate meals donations are dropping quite a bit, precipitously. And I asked her, is it the amount that we're getting that's significant? And she said, no, it's the fact that it's going down year after year. And she compared it to another commission on aging that they also do the audit for, and their numbers are going up. So she was concerned more that those numbers are going down. And so the second page, I broke it down, congregate meals and home delivered meals, and these are her figures. In 2023, we collected, these are the donations that we get congregate meals from the participants, $7,136. We served a total of 2,763 meals. So our average donation per meal was $2.58. Now, put into that, that doesn't mean that every person pays $2.58. Far from it. There can be several people who make a large donation of $1,000 or $2,000, and then that makes it look like the number is up. And that is, in fact, what has happened. I know for people who have done that. When you break it down, the home delivered meals beneath there, 2023, actual revenue of $22,642. The number of meals served is 34,626. Our average donation per meal is 65 cents. Now we know that our home delivered meals are more expensive. We have all the expenses with the autos and staff to deliver them. Several years ago, when I asked what our price was, they quoted me that it cost us $11 for home delivered meal. Can't imagine it's less than that right now. So we're having the net effect of getting back 65 cents for every home delivered meal we deliver. Now, as you all know, ACCOA's business model is not that we give out free food. It is that we are subsidized by the property tax, the commissioners, let's put it that way, the property tax, to allow for a lower rate that people are supposed to pay. But if people are not paying and we are not allowed to charge by NEMSCA, there's nothing we can do about it if we contract with NEMSCA and seek funding through them. So the next page, I broke down that if we did not contract with NEMSCA, did not seek funding from them, what kind of money would we be able to bring in if we made meals mandatory? Paying for meals mandatory, which we are not allowed to do right now. Either on congregate or home delivered meals, we cannot force somebody to pay. But if our donations, which are an integral part of our budget, have dropped, that money has to be brought up somehow or other. But it's not even just that, it's the amount of hours that Wendy and her staff have to go through every single month, every year, to remain in compliance. Wendy herself estimates that half of her time as the executive director is spent doing paperwork to stay in compliance with NEMSCA. So I've made a couple estimates here that we can talk about and we can think about this. The congregate meals in 2023, we served 2,763. If we charged $4 a meal and made that mandatory, that would have brought in $11,000 as opposed to the $7,000 we collected. So an increase of $4,000. If we served that number of meals and we charged $5 a meal, it would have brought in the next number, $13,000. So we have to factor in how much money we can expect to bring in either through charging for the meals or through raffles or fundraising. And if it's in our best interest to not contract with NEMSCA, not only because of all the hours that our staff has to go through to be in compliance, but not only can't we charge, we have to have them a whole list, a litany of things we have to do. We had a certain menu. We can't serve milk in a pitcher. We can't have a salad bar. All the things that we are not allowed to do, and all in order to get the grand sum of $28,000 from NEMSCA. So that is what I did there. Below that is home delivered meals. If we charged $3 for a home delivered meal, that would bring in $103,000 as opposed to what we collected last year was $22,000. That alone, if we charged $3 a meal, that would completely make up for what we're getting right now from NEMSCA for the home delivered meals. Not even counting all the hours that our staff have to pay to be in compliance with NEMSCA and undergo audits that they come back 3 months later and say, okay, they had an audit in May, didn't hear back from them until September, and then said, you need to make these changes. After that, it was another 2 months and they came back. The amount of time Wendy and her staff are having to put to get in that compliance Not to mention how many people, and I've heard it from several people, when they don't feel like they have to pay for something, they're taking meals that they don't necessarily need. They might be throwing them away. They might not be eating them. It's human nature. You get something free, you take it. They don't know that that's affecting the ACCOA's bottom line. It's unsustainable. It can't be done. Can't continue.
If we discontinue. If we were to discontinue NEMSCO, how would that affect our in-home care services?
It does not sound like it affects it at all. You just wouldn't be applying for the congregate meal funding awards. You wouldn't be applying for the home delivered meals, but it doesn't affect the in-home services. That's a separate thing. And Wendy reached out to Lori Sauer, the AAA director, and got a letter basically saying that. No, I mean, we can double and triple and quadruple check, but it does not sound like it affects it at all. Now- The next page is where this broke down in our budget. Right now, home delivered meals, we have a millage appropriation of the total program cost of $329,000, $203,000 and change. It's down at the bottom is funded through a millage. So it's 61% funded for millage. This is just for your record. But the final page I have, this is a letter from NEMSCO to Wendy. We are right now in compliance with them. Wendy and her staff have done amazing work over the last year, going through the work of becoming in compliance with NEMSCO standards, which probably was never done before. And so we're not trying to get rid of NEMSCO because can't comply. She's in compliance. We would be deciding it's not in our best interest, particularly if we move to the new senior center. There's going to be all sorts of new rules and regulations if we want to sell pizza by the slice or chicken nuggets or something like that. It's going to be all a nightmare trying to keep straight the money that's spent on senior meals, congregate meals versus meals that we're serving to other people. It would just be a logistical nightmare. Not to mention, it's just going to cost us money. Wendy, and I don't want to monopolize here. Please give your opinion on all of this.
Food was a big thing, like after school, coming in, getting, whether it's snacks, burgers, fries, pizza, whatever it may be. Do you think that will be a huge money maker for us with students coming in? And Bob had a good idea earlier, like, could they buy a punch card and pay, $40 and then you get 10 meals or whatever it may be. But I think we could have more of a variety. And I don't think, it would just be the same stuff over and over. I mean, Tyler, we can't use places, there's a lot of different things we can't do. I think this kitchen will be more equipped to make more that give not just teenagers a choice, but seniors, if they come in and we're serving burgers and fries, or maybe our meal for the day that we had sent out to home delivered was beef stroganoff. Maybe they don't want beef stroganoff. I'll just have a burger and fries today. They would be able to have a little bit more of a variety.
I don't see any scenario where we could forego funding from them unless we are making meals mandatory. We can't make that money up in any other way. So the two have to go together, in my opinion.
What about the seniors that rely on that cannot pay? What happens to them?
My opinion would be that they would contact Wendy and see if there is exceptions that can be made, if they,
Contingent for that. Because
correct.
there are several that I know from experience that cannot afford, they're on very fixed incomes, and I worry about them.
Correct. And I don't want to be a hard-hearted person. I know that those people exist. maybe there will be more funding.
Think that they couldn't get their meal, a meal, because they literally, I mean, they can't survive, and some of them are even asking for a food box at the end of the month just to get them through till their next check comes in, you know, so we utilize boxes to people like that, you know, that need that. One of the things that we really need to get out even more, and I mean, I'm trying to get this out there, but I had a meeting with the direct care workers last week, and all of them were talking about they go into clients' homes, and I was shocked because every one of them pretty much told me that they're told that they're maids, they pay their taxes, you're my maid, and you're gonna do what needs to be done because I pay taxes for you to come in here. To the point where one of my workers was told by a client that she needed to stick her hand down her toilet to pull out a washcloth or a hand towel that she had put down there, and she's like, ma'am, I can't do that. And she goes, I pay my taxes, you're going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been a misconception how it's come about. I can think several different ways that people think their property taxes are fully paying for these services. They're not. They're subsidizing so that we don't have to charge as much. $11 meal, we only have to charge $4 for instance, but it is not replacing the need for donations or people paying for their meals.
I would like to know, are we going to have NEMSCA come down so that the board can ask them, come right out and ask them, can we serve milk in a gallon jar? We did it for years.
I represent Region 9 and we are a part of NEMSCA.
Right, but you're not Tyler, are you? Or
Yeah.
Oh, you're Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So could we have a meeting, just you and the board, and find out what we can do and what we can't do? And what we can serve and what we can't serve and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I suspect that Lori would like to be present for the next board meeting following this. And if that's what you're interested in, I can sort of push that or try to push it, reasonably. I'm not so sure how involved I would be, because I'm not a registered dietitian. I don't ultimately make the decision on what meals or, what nutrition is acceptable and what is in compliance and what's not. They may want this. I'm not really sure, but I can certainly pass information along.
Is it legal, I should say, or illegal to have your lettuce sitting in a bowl and the client just takes the tongs and takes a little bit of lettuce and goes to the peaches and takes a spoonful of peaches? Or does that have to be cupped up for congregate meals? I know it has to be for takeouts, but I worked at Greenbush for 30 years and we had our lettuce in a bowl. We had our fruit in a bowl. We served dessert once a week. We made a lot of homemade stuff. Is that all done now? You can't do that anymore?
I'm not sure of the ins and outs of that type of stuff. That would be something that I have to look into.
Well, if you could check into it, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, so what exactly is the question? Just
If we can serve homemade, let's say meatballs, spaghetti and meatballs, and a cake once a week, or can we have a gallon of milk and let the person pour their cup of milk? And if they want a second glass of milk, they go up and get another glass of milk. Our lettuce, can it be in a bowl? I
All
mean-
that for the same people that don't pay for their meals.
You're
You
what?
want all you can eat for all the people that don't.
No,
pay.
I'm not saying that at all.
So I think this all boils down to, with Kyle, the new regulations that we have,
Tyler, yeah.
that the new regulations that we have to follow because of state mandatory laws that have changed over the last 30 years. 30 years ago.
That's what
you could
I'm
do it.
asking. Are they,
But-
have they all changed?
No, yes.
So I've been in this position for just about 6 months. I am just now learning about the changes that they've made for this coming fiscal year. And this is my first experience with, I've been told that they make changes every single year. This is my first experience with any of those changes that have been made. So all I can do is speak on what's been made this year, and it's minute to particular areas in the standards. There's nothing specific about, having food out in a bowl. If I threw a random guess out there, it wouldn't be random. Because I have a service certification, which however much weight that carries, it's relatively important for that position. That would not apply. That would be okay.
And Dolores, I mean, Tyler doesn't make these decisions, Nextdoor doesn't.
Right,
really
I know.
make The decisions, they're state and federal rules and regulations, and we have to follow them because they're giving the funding to NEMSCA, who in turn is giving it
Right.
to us.
And it's always been that way. I
Right.
would just like to know what some of these rules are, if they really have changed.
If we do away with NEMSCO, we don't have to rule with any of their rules.
Right.
About the state
But we
laws,
still
then how
have
you
to
will
follow,
have
yeah.
rules. You will not be able to put a bowl out. It
No,
would have to have a cover on it. It would have to be set up as like a buffet type thing where you have sneeze guards and stuff like that. So no, you are never gonna be able to put a bowl of lettuce on a counter and let everybody go unless you set it up.
With a sneeze guard, which we did.
as long as, I'm also ServSafe certified and I've got a lot of experience in food service. And I can tell you just over the years, you can't have like a pitcher of milk unless you're serving it all or you throw it away. It has to be kept cold. It has to be kept at a
Right.
certain temperature. And the same thing goes for salad bar things.
Right, that's why we had it in a bowl of ice.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
but a lot of restaurant things or food service things have changed in the last several years. So that's what Pam is speaking to as well. And then you're going by health department regulations if it's not NEMSCA.
Right,
And I think through COVID, there's a lot of
Yes.
cases and they never went back, they're not going back how it used to be, it's
It's the way it is.
the way it is, that's the way things are now.
And the one thing that does not change, whether you can put salad out or not, is that we are not allowed to charge for meals.
Right.
Regardless if they allowed us to put a pitcher of milk out or not, it doesn't change the fact that we're getting 65 cents per home delivered meal and less than $3 for a congregate meal. And that's including some people who have made large donations. So the actual per person is actually quite a bit less than that. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be voted on today, but it's something that has to be addressed. And I would be willing to vote on it today, but I would love to have this decided before we move into the new place.
I would like to make a motion that we have Tyler or somebody from NEMSCA come down and talk to us, just the board and Tyler. And have some of these questions answered.
I have a book of standards that comes from NEMSCA that anybody is more than welcome to read because Tyler's gonna tell you the same thing that are in the standards, I think, and Lori will tell you the same things, that are in that book, because those are, NEMSCA doesn't just make up the rules, they come from the state and the federal government, that's where we get our grants from. So all of the stuff that we have to do, the reporting, everything else, they have to do their back end of everything too, because then they have to report it to the state or, the feds or whoever, whatever type of grant it is. So I think if you wanna, I can break you out, any of you out one of the standard books if you wanna read it.
I think we need to move on. We have to either make a decision. We can table this issue or we can make a decision on this issue. We can make a motion. We can get rid of NEMSCO. We can,
Did you make an official motion? I mean, did you?
I didn't make a
Well,
motion.
I'm gonna make
I would like to have the board talk with Tyler before making a decision.
I am gonna make a motion that Wendy, approaches NEMSCO personnel again, just to clarify, to see our ability to just easily step away from the NEMSCO funding. I would like her to do that and before our next meeting in January. And we can make a final decision then, but I would like to start moving towards that direction.
financially wise, I believe that's the right direction to go. I mean, 65 cents a meal doesn't cut it. As a business standpoint, we'll never survive.
But what about the other programs too, though? It's
We're
not
only
just,
doing meals.
we're not stepping away from in-home services?
No,
No,
no. So I'll make that clear in my motion to pursue stepping away from the in-home, the congregate meals and the home delivered meals program to confirm that there isn't something that we don't already know. She's already gotten a letter from Lori Sauer. It just sounds like we just don't go for that funding. And we are released from any and all the obligations that come with them. But this would not be for in-home services.
Right.
They are able to start January 1st. I think your staff that you've talked to are in agreement that this would not only save so much time. I mean, we're talking about opening up the new senior center and who's going to staff it. If Wendy isn't taking half of her every day doing NEMSCO forms and her staff aren't having to do so much with NEMSCO, that solves some of your staffing issues right there.
The other thing I would want to add to that is to check into the health department roles. You need to be aware, you know what I mean? You'd have to get with Dave Schmidt or even the person down in, he's in Harrisville. The inspectors usually come out of Bay City, but he can lead you in the right direction. But that way you'll be aware of the differences and the rules, because if we're gonna step away from NEMSCO, there's no sense in going through everything with NEMSCO to find out what we can do and what we can't do. You know what I mean? It would just be like doing them and the health department, so.
I mean, yeah, because there are things, we're still gonna have to do temperature checks.
Yeah.
We still have to, I mean, we can't go hog wild on seasoning. We gotta remember, we're not only gonna be serving teenagers or middle aged, we're still gonna be serving seniors. I mean, yeah, I totally agree with him. There's a lot of stuff that we still, I mean, we would still have to follow whether they were NEMSCO or not, because they're coming from, you know, their native federal. So.
So it'd be like running a restaurant versus a government funded.
So how about a motion that we get with NEMSCO personnel and meet with the programs and policies committee sometime in December, and then get a firm recommendation for the board in our January meeting.
Second, third, fourth,
Fourth.
and fifth.
Okay, motion by Turk, seconded by Pender to get with NEMSCO personnel to follow through with our regulations.
Is this the whole board?
And bring it back. That'll be in December, and then bring it back to the board in January for ratification if we're gonna move away or if we're gonna stay with them.
Who's gonna
That right?
meet? though? Who's gonna meet?
Programs and policies committee. And now that we have one or two new members, I mean, Phil will make up who's going to be on that committee.
Okay. So we have a motion, we have a seconded, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to public comment, limit 2 minutes per person. Please give your name and township. Judy jumped right up.
Judy
So-
Rich, Haynes Township. Just some things to suggest, to make sure you look at, if you do move away, I'm not real clear on the NIMSCA, like, dollar amount that goes to food service versus the difference you're gonna receive by charging. Yes, there's gonna be some people that can't pay, so finding a way to address that with maybe some type of, application for assistance, qualification, whatever that may be, that's gonna be more steps to come up with what that's gonna look like. And then possibly grants that cover that. I mean, I'm sure some of our village money already covers what NIMSCA doesn't cover, because obviously we're not covering. If we're only getting 65 cents for a delivered meal, obviously we're not covering that. So anyway, just those things, but also making sure when we are serving more meals or selling meals, that our focus is still for our seniors. I think it's a great idea that maybe kids can stop and buy a hamburger after school or something like that. I mean, we have no restaurants in Lincoln, so there is a potential that this could, become a little more of a food court type place. But where's that dividing line between the money that goes for our seniors and the money that's running a food court? We gotta really be careful on that, because ultimately, we are a senior center. So I do love the idea though, and I love the idea of being able to do more with our food, serve more options and things like that. So I think it's a good idea to potentially move in that direction.
Thank you. Any other? Yes, ma'am.
I will be very simple.
Name and township.
As a conduit, my name is Sue Nagy. I was there one day when they passed the survey around, wondering if people would pay $4. Everyone said yes. So having an actual raise for the congregate meal, I think would work. I also think that on the home delivered meals, if when we contracted with them, we said it will be $3, $2, but whatever we've decided, if it's told to them up front as part of the agreement, we wouldn't have a problem. And then if they can't afford it, they say, oh no, I can't afford to pay $3 a time. Now we can step in and make whatever kind of pass we want to for this person that cannot do it. That's basically all I want to say. And the other thing is, you put a pitcher of milk on the table, on the serving table, I would not drink them. If I can't get that little one that I know is clean, whether you put it in a pitcher or a thing of ice or not, it's an open pitcher. I would not drink from it. And I think there are others that would not. End of mine.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, close public comment. Thank you. Director's additional comments and concerns.
Sue, thank you for your comments. I just want to let you know that when people do sign up for the Meals on Wheels program, they are aware that they're supposed to pay if they can. So it's been done, so.
And the letter goes out every month of all of the services people have been provided, but we can only say.
It's a suggestion.
A suggested, like, if they got 30 meals, it would be like 3 times 30. This is what, your suggested donation for meals for the month. If they had homemaking once a week, it would list out, the cost of the homemaking and what it would be. So it gives them a breakdown of all of the services they provided, but it's a suggested donation. And when it comes down to it, we have about 15 people out of, I want to say Cindy told me the other day, 109 clients that we service. That's for home delivered and in-home services, not including congregate. We've got about 15 regular people that pay every month, and that's it. And they get the letter every single month.
Is that, do we have any other comments or concerns from the board? Okay, we will move on. The board is entering into a closed session to discuss a personal matter at the request of an involved employee. So when we adjourn the meeting, we will be moving into a, pardon me?
Need to vote to go into closed session.
If I may suggest, did you go into closed session from your open meeting?
We have to have a motion,
Motion to go into closed session,
correct,
then a motion to come out and then close your
and
meeting.
then adjourn.
I will make a motion to enter into closed session to discuss a personnel matter at the request of the involved employee.
Seconded. Motion by Turk, seconded by Lynch to go into closed session to discuss personal matters. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, folks. Happy